moment because I'd like to have everyone on this for the meditation. Shall I show you now?
Okay.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce my beloved wife, Corrine, who's always here and always with me and is such a great, wonderful partner and supporter. She does lots of the research for this program, and she's has many wonderful ideas about how to frame all this and how to talk about it. So I am extremely grateful for her endless support and love.
Thank you, Gordon. Great. And I'll also be watching the chat and making sure he gets all the questions and comments and things. So welcome, everyone.
Great. All right. So here we are. So I'm going to move this back now. So if you see a pink arm coming into the picture, you can know that that's Corrine helping. All right. So yes. Yeah, that is a great color. I love it. All right. You have to say, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So can you read this okay? Yeah.
No, I can't.
All right. Okay, so what we'd like to do, as we often do, is start with a meditation, brief, however, but full, and then we'll go right into what we're going to talk about today. All right, so let's begin by taking a few deep breaths, breathing in peace and stillness, breathing out everything else, just letting everything go. Focusing in our hearts, feeling that radiant sun of light and love and spiritual power in our hearts. Feel that sun getting brighter and stronger as we invite our soul to bring more of its light and love into our hearts, filling us with this beautiful soul energy. As we feel inspired and uplifted, let us connect together as a united group working with the Light Alliance as we connect heart to heart and soul to soul, as we sense the presence of all of us in this space, the space of the matrix of love. The energy field that holds us in its beautiful, eternal, loving embrace. Which guides and overlights and supports us always towards our highest good for each and every one of us and for the entire world and worlds we are connected with. We hold open this loving space and realize we are approaching a time of great liberation and transfiguration for our earth and for all life upon it. So let us rejoice and be glad, for we have earned this opportunity, experience of moving and living into the fifth dimension of light, love, higher purpose, and complete inner and outer harmony with all life. Thank you for being open to this truth, ready to receive and engage and offer your love and your mind and your thought and your vision and energy to the fulfillment of this great higher purpose, which is now coming into being in our world. Thank you all so much. Okay, here we are. And it is such a joy and an honor and a privilege to be able to share with all of you and to be with you as we explore and clarify and understand more and more fully and deeply what is occurring on our planet and how we can be part of that and contribute all of who we are and know to this great, unbelievably historic moment in human history. So here we are. So there is a lot to talk about, and I also, as I promised in the announcement about today, that I will share ideas about how you can prepare for what is coming. This is very, very important because we're now reaching a stage where it's appropriate to be thinking about all this. So we're going to talk about it on 3 levels: the spiritual preparation, psychological preparation, and practical preparation. So this is what we want to do here today, as well as give you an update on what's going on from the higher perspective. And I must say, the news is profoundly beautiful. I am so happy with what's happening. So I'll share that with you. And I'm glad you all like the meditation. It's wonderful to hear that feedback. And we'll make sure we always do a meditation and we always connect in this way, because we are one group and we are one with the greater group. And so let us maintain that sense of the beautiful frequency when we're together in the matrix of love. There is nothing in the world quite like it. Okay, so as you are all probably aware, there is and has been a tremendous battle. The master, this ferocious battle underway to influence the minds and hearts of people regarding this American election. And of course, it also extends beyond America to the minds and hearts of people all over the world. And this battle is being fought with efforts to paint the candidates on the subtle planes with a very different image to who they really are, especially Hillary. And that we know, and I've mentioned before, that there's an all-out campaign to use the internet in every means possible to discredit her, attack her, do everything possible to make her look horrible. And Trump, of course, is doing an excellent job on his own of revealing himself in a very, very negative light. So the dark forces are trying to make so because Trump has gotten into this position of being viewed this way, the dark forces are trying to make them equivalent. And that's part of the game that they're playing, which is a complete lie. So it's, and you hear this as, oh, it makes no difference whichever one gets in, it's not going to change anything, or they're both really horrible, and in who they are and what they're doing, they can't trust either of them. This is a strategy of a cabal, because Trump, you can't make that, as they say, you can't make a pig look like an angel. It just is what it is. But the only way they can deal with this is to make Hillary look equally bad. And that's been the strategy. So they're also, part of the strategy is trying to make people feel that the political process is hopeless, that nothing you do is going to make any difference, no matter who wins, and therefore don't even bother to vote. However, both of those strategies are not really working. And it's very interesting to watch this, because Hillary, for the most part, has risen above all of this image that's been painted of her as evil, conniving, all the stuff, and has been able to come forward with this positive image. When you see her out with people, when you see her talking, when you see her energetic is really beautiful and positive. You can feel it and sense it, and people do. And that is why she's winning. Trump is a negator. He negates, and thus he does not inspire or bring any positive living energy. He's just, you go listen to him and it's like a downward spiral. That's the reality. So, and what's really interesting is despite all of the attacks on Hillary, I mean, she's been attacked by Vladimir Putin through the hacking and the emails. He's an attack now by the Attorney General of the United States releasing all this stuff. I'm sorry, not the Attorney General, the FBI, head of the FBI, in implying that there's more negative stuff coming out through the emails, which has been proven to be totally false. All the paid hackers who are constantly attacking her on the internet, the endless leaks, the emails, and all the trolls that are spreading massive disinformation about her. All of this is availing nothing. It has not worked. And that is extraordinary. It's a tribute to her, her strength, her stability and endurance. And it's a tribute to the people of the United States who are able to see through all these lies and all this stuff. And as I said before, it's because they register on a subconscious level what her energy is, who she really is, and that is stronger than all the lies that are constantly being put out about her. So now, but what's happened is during this whole period, when we have this huge, ferocious battle over trying to influence the minds and hearts of people, the tension in the atmosphere, the tension in the world, and especially in the United States, is so great that so many of the people we know have been telling me how much they have terrible pains in their bodies. Their back keeps going out of alignment. They have terrible headaches, stomach aches, all kinds of stuff, because the whole energetic of the field of our country is in this crisis, tension, struggle about which view is going to prevail. And this is really, really what's a lot behind it. And so what do you do under these circumstances? Well, you have to stay calm, first of all. You have to raise your frequency beyond the level where this battle is raging. You do not have to be in the middle of it. You don't have to take sides. You just simply raise your frequency, visualize the outcome you want, and make sure you take care of yourself, you get enough exercise, good food, and for God's sakes, enjoy your life. The life, it's like, I've noticed how easy it is to get completely embedded in the whole internet reality and the election and whatever else, all the stuff that's going on around that, and how it seems like, oh my God, it's the fate of the world hangs in the balance, and if we don't make it, we're going to all die. Not happening. It's not like that, but it can seem like that. And so this is what we have to do, is constantly maintain our distance internal, our psychic distance. I do not mean that we should not be involved in the whole process in voting energetically, meditatively, and in other ways support the person we feel is the best for the country. And that's really what we will do. So let's remember that and not get hooked into all the incredible energetics around this. Okay, so we are approaching, it's only another day or two, thank God, the culmination of this destiny election. And it will be fully resolved after the election. And I'll get to that in a bit, but this is really, really important. So, and I want to talk more about the financial system. I want to talk about what's going on after the election and all these things. And I know you want to hear that. So, but I want to, now there's plenty of people who are saying all kinds of stuff all these things about Hillary. People are entitled to their beliefs. You can believe anything you want about Hillary, but the facts of the matter are that she has an energy that is completely of the light. And if you need to develop your sense of perception, that you can experience that. Okay, so now there's some questions here about Dr. Stephen Greer. And I will take questions at the end, So you're writing down the important ones, right? You're writing down. Okay, Corinne's writing down the questions. I will, but I'll just make a couple of comments here because, that are really, yeah. John Marcus said Trump is indeed a threat to national on many, many different levels. One of them being he would make it very difficult for us to have contact with the Galactic Light Alliance, which is true. He would, because he doesn't even understand it, and he would try to blow them out of space, and that would not work. And then it's a whole, but it creates a blockage. That's why the dark side wants him to win, and that's why they're supporting him. So now there's all kinds of questions here about Trump as a threat. Oh no, not that one. Putin. I answered this question last time, but I'll answer it again. I said Putin was working with the Light Alliance some time ago, and that was true at that time. Things change. Remember, everything's in flux. Everything's moving. It's not all fixed. So Trump was, but now, because of his need to assert Russia as a power in the world, which he's very attached to, and for his own power position within his country, he has taken multiple steps that are not in tune with what the Light Alliance would like to have happen, such as bombing Aleppo and many, many other things he's doing. These are not anything that are aligned with the Light Alliance's priorities or a plan. So, people can change. Everything can change all the time. So he did. That's the situation, but that will all get resolved very soon. It's not something that we, and there is effort being made to try to create a peace or a ceasefire, but it is really, really unconscionable what he and Syria have done to the people of Aleppo and other parts of Syria. And that he will, and Russia will, and all these things, and Assad will be held accountable for everything they've done. Nobody gets away with anything, believe me. This is not going to happen. They will be held accountable. And so we're going to begin to see that happening very soon. Okay, go ahead, Green.
Okay, dude.
Yeah, people are asking about Dr. Stephen Greer's work, who's done a lot of work to publicize the fact of the other beings outside of the planet and demanding disclosure, doing hearings. He has done some good work in the past. However, the situation there, this happens often, very often, where people start out good, they do good work, they do make a contribution, and then all kinds of forces move in on them to stimulate their ego, stimulate their desires for all kinds of things, and then they begin to go off the rails, slowly and gradually, which is what people want, because what the dark side wants, because they want to change them in ways that people will not realize what's happened until they're far down the road off the rails. He has now gone down that road, I am very sorry to say, and doing all kinds of things. And I know a lot about what goes on, which I'm not even going to talk about, but there's quite a bit of corruption there. And it is, really a problem now, but it's not going to have any long-term effect. A lot of the stuff that he's putting out as from, quote, sources, insider sources. Same with Corey Goode to some extent, and also what Corey, and I've said this before, what Corey is receiving is coming from the astral plane. It's not from the plane of clear intuition and clear insight. It's the plane of desire, which means that whatever you would like to find and experience and have said to you will come into your consciousness and will seem extremely realistic and absolutely true. But the reality is, it's an illusion. There is no war going on in the center of our planet. That is not real. And I can keep saying this over and over, but that is the truth. The blue avians are real, but it's not the way it's been portrayed. I don't want to spend too much time on all this because I've already talked about this before. So I will go on and we'll come back to the questions, definitely more of them as we move forward, but I do want to stay with what we're going to do. Yeah, we'll get to that. Okay, and we're going to talk more about the Day of Revelation and the aftermath of the Day of Revelation. So let's first talk about the financial system, because I know this is of a very great interest to many of you, and that is important. So the Light Alliance is doing everything possible to stabilize the financial system until the Day of Revelation. That is really the plan right now. And so Once this occurs, then the reorganization of the financial system, as has been planned all along, will be free to take place. And I've stated this before. I'll give you a quick summary, which is we will have the, first of all, the reorganization of the banking system. Banks will no longer be giving loans for interest. Interest-based money will be eliminated. We will have an international currency that will be used all over the world, backed by gold and commodities. That money will also allow us to convert our national currency into that international stable, solid world currency, and back in and out of that currency. It will stabilize the whole thing in terms of the finances itself. We will no longer have a debt-based economy. There will be the forgiveness of debt, and there will be a confiscation of all the illegally gained wealth by the elites, and that money will be used to help develop this planet so that every single human being on the planet who's here will have food, shelter, health care, everything they need, education, opportunities to grow and evolve. That is the plan, and it will come about. That's where we're going. So we are in the process of that, and what's going on now is essential to that. The Light Alliance is intending to maintain social and financial stability during this period. All these forecasts about, we're going to have upheaval, you better store all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Forget it. It's not real. It's fear-based cabal disinformation. So we will get into this in more depth, but there is no need to take extraordinary measures to protect your wealth or other valuables. All resources that you have that are acquired legitimately, inherited or through other means that you've earned, will be completely secure. Nothing's going to happen to them. Any funds gained by illicit, illegal means, manipulations, or theft and violations of the law will be confiscated and used in the rebuilding of our planet. That's the plan. I can't think of anything that could happen on the planet that would be more justified and beautiful than for that simple thing. That alone is worth every ounce of our effort to bring that into being. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about it. They're making all kinds of predictions about it, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that's not really going to fully happen until after the day of revelation. For those who haven't heard it before, is the time when the alignment of the 7 solar systems within the great heavenly being made up of 7 solar systems, when that alignment between all 7 solar systems is completed and it's the right timing, the energy of love is going to be released to our planet and to everyone, all the solar systems, which will be so powerful and intense that unless people are aligned with, understand, or embody some degree of love in their being, they will not be able to remain here. And they will be taken very lovingly to other places to continue their evolution in an environment that matches their frequency. That is the plan. And it hasn't changed one iota since I first was given to me many years ago. And that is what we are continuing to create. And it's moving along very nicely in that direction. And I'll talk a lot more about that as we begin, as we go further. Okay, let's take a deep breath. There's a lot,
You want questions?
Okay, there's a question. It's a good question from Jean-Marc. How can we have an enlightened post-transfiguration society still using money when money was created as a tool of enslavement from day one? Well, if you really, really go on and get historical about it, the origins of money was actually started with people would agree that certain kinds of shells were actually representing value, and they would exchange and use seashells, as a measure of value, and then they would use that to facilitate trade and exchange. Now, we've come a long way from that, but the fundamental creation of money to facilitate exchange of goods and services is not fundamentally evil. However, the way it's been co-opted, controlled, and manipulated is totally evil, no doubt about it. However, the continuation of money after we go through the day of revelation is a temporary measure. It will be in place for a certain period of time until we actually go through the day of, or after the day of Rush, it will still be present. It will continue. At a certain point, we will all realize, and it will become obvious, that if we have free energy, if we have everybody has all their needs met around the world, and all we're doing now is thinking about how can we be more creative, how can we make a greater contribution to the world, what is it I can give, then and I have everything I need, or my friends will give it to me if I need it. Why do we need money? It's not necessary. It's superfluous, but we're going to outgrow it. We're not going to just get rid of it. We don't have to. It's a growth in consciousness to a level where money is no longer necessary. That's how money is going to be ultimately gone. So you're right in the sense that it's not good, but it will. Yeah. Okay. No, there's a million questions.
Stay on the topic.
Oh, well, I want to answer Eleanor Kane's question because it's a very good question. How can I be sure Hillary's going to win given the multiple efforts to undermine her? Yes, there have been massive efforts. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been spent by trolls and all this nonsense on the internet. But you've got to look at the facts. The facts are she is ahead, slightly, but she is ahead. That's extremely heartening to me that human beings have enough perception and clarity to realize where legitimate, true leadership is present and where showmanship, falsity, charlatanism, all of that other side, where that is. And it's really happening. And, I have gotten very clear information from, I don't know, a year ago, that from my inner contacts, that Hillary was going to win. She's going to be the president. I see nothing happening right now, even though there's as I said, everybody in the world has attacked her. Putin, the attorney, whatever, the FBI, and Sheldon Adelman admitted they had $500 million they were going to use to try to undermine her. And they probably used it all up already with all the trolls and nonsense they create. The thing is, people who read on the internet, the thing about the internet is it is a very mixed blessing. Anybody in any state of consciousness whatsoever can get on the internet, create some story about Hillary or anything else, put it up on the internet, and a whole bunch of people will start believing it. Oh, yes, that's happening. Oh, she did this, she did that, blah, blah, blah. We need to develop some very good filters and discriminatory capacities to be able to parse through all this stuff, which is just, a lot of it is complete nonsense. It's so far beyond the realm of possibility, it just wouldn't even make sense. Okay. Please share more about the timeline for the light. We'll get to that. Yes, I promise we'll get to the timeline. What do you got? I don't know about the trumpet sounds. I haven't checked into that. It's probably an indicator that, it's like, when we had the trumpet sounded and the walls of Jericho came down in biblical times, I think that it's a sound that's saying we are in for big changes, and that's really where we're going. And okay. All right. I don't want to get into that one. It's just too much. Okay, so let's keep going because I have a lot of things to share, and if I only answer questions, you're not going to get to them, and then you're going to be upset. This just happens. So, all right, so let's go to the next topic that I wanted to introduce, which is about what I want to give you is something. Just to say one more thing about the financial system. The transfiguration of the financial system will take place when the cabal is neutralized. And the cabal is not going to be completely neutralized until after the day of revelation. And therefore, we can make, and there is progress being made towards this reorganization of the financial system, but it cannot be fully implemented until that point. Okay, now, here's the big announcement, which I've made, I think I made last time, I don't remember. I've talked to so many people. Basically, I got, and I have not, for 5 years, I have been told, can't tell you when the day of revelation is going to be. We don't know. It's not clear. You need, that's what the message has been to me for 5 years. And I've been asking, and people have been asking, and that's what I've been saying for a long, long time. Well, as I said, I think I said last time to you, I don't remember, about 6 weeks ago, I got a very clear input. The time is clear. Not exact, because you can't do that, but within the next 2 to 5 months, we will see the day of revelation. That's what I'm receiving. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not claiming to be perfect or 100% always, but overall, what I've been receiving has been pretty useful and pretty accurate. But I could be wrong. But it's interesting that all along, I've been told, no, we can't tell you. Now it's clear. And part of that reason for that is we had to go through this election, which, as I said last time, is a destiny election. It's a choice that the American people are making about which road we're going to take in the future. And it's very clear to me that we are going to go with Hillary. That is going to happen, and that is really key, and it's very clear. So that's clear to me, and I think it will be clear to everyone. I mean, all the early returns are already saying that the Latinos, God bless them, are turning out in huge numbers in Florida, in Nevada, and it looks like, that's really already showing if he loses Nevada and Florida, he's done. Can't win. And if all the other states that normally go Democratic stay in the same thing. So we're almost there. And they've been very smart, Hillary's campaign. They spent huge amounts of effort in registering Latino voters in certain areas, and in Puerto Rico, they didn't even have in Central Florida. There are many, many Puerto Ricans who've come from all over from Puerto Rico, living in Central Florida. They registered all of them, and they're all on, and they're ready to go, and they're voting very strongly for Hillary. And so, it's happening in Nevada also. It's very clear to me that this is over, pretty much. I thought it's over for a while, but anyway, this is really good. And so that's one thing. Now, Tom has an important point, which I think I should emphasize, which is that humanity, or Americans, are electing Hillary not because she happens to be a female in this incarnation, but because she is a human being who's working for all of us. She is not self-centered and egotistical. I am pretty confident that we're going to see Donnie go through a very important stage on the spiritual path, which he is on, like many of us, but at a different point. But he's a very powerful being, and he has done his job, which was to help break down surface the whole insanity about the way women are treated and all the rest of it, break down the power dynamic with the Republican Party, and force them to completely go through a whole transformation. But Donald is going to go through what we know on the spiritual path as an ego death. He is going to have an ego death as a result of this election, because he's going to look, the one thing he's more terrified of than anything else is being pegged as a loser. And he will be a loser. And that is really, really good for his spiritual development, because he's going to have to find a way to deal with that. May not do it in this incarnation, but at some point he will learn to let go of that humongous ego that he has and find another way to relate to people. And that is going to result from this election. It's a wonderful result. He's a powerful being, and he could do great good, but it's going to have to take some transfiguration work for that to happen. And some people are saying he never wanted to be president. He wanted to use this whole gambit as a way to publicize himself and his companies. That may well be true. I think it probably is a lot of the truth. And he never thought he'd get this far. And now he's kind of in a bind because he doesn't really want to be president. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's go on to. Okay, and there's a question about whether Hillary will start with the disclosure. I don't know. No, that's not going to be the first thing on the agenda. The first thing on the agenda is to provide the basics of life to all those people who don't have enough. And that's going to be worldwide. That's the directive of the Light Alliance. Once we stabilize the world situation on that level, then we will be able to have direct contact with the galactic civilizations and begin to develop our relationship with them. But we can't have it as long, and we have to go through the day of revelation first. Otherwise, if they came now, we would have total chaos. There would be totally different factions and groups. And can you imagine what the religions would do with that? They'd all go nuts. It's just not viable until we get this whole planetary consciousness situation and actual practical life for most people stabilized. And it's not right now. It's not stable at all. That has to happen first. And it will. Okay? So let's go on. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm getting feedback not to answer questions, but to stay on what I want to present. And let's do that. That's a good advice. Thank you for that. Where's my... Okay, so I have a statement here that was given to me by the master that is something that I think is useful to share with you. It's about where we are and what's going on in the world. So I'm going to share this with you as a way to just give you some sense of reassurance or reality about what is actually really happening and where we are. So this is a direct statement from the master, as clear as I can be about it, okay? And if any of you want any of this information, I can get it to you if you really want it. So here it is, the quote. Just as in the darkest days of World War II, when victory seemed impossible, people carried on the war against evil with great courage and determination. Today, the war is on the subtle planes, a struggle for the hearts and minds of humanity between the forces of division, hate, and fear, and the lighted power of love, unity, and the spiritual powers supporting the evolution of all life on Earth. Just as in the previous war, help is being poured out to humanity, this time to overcome hatred with love, using human solidarity and oneness to vanquish fear and separation. And by standing on the side of expanding inclusion, to move forward with the momentum of evolution. Nothing can hold back this endless expansion in humanity's recognition of love as the foundational matrix within which all lives and forms exist. Its presence is seen in the smile and radiance of a child, the blessing of flowers and the play of animals, and a love that encircles the earth with inner and outer caring and support for all. The fact that this circulation of lighted energies is not complete shows us what remains to be achieved, and completed it will be. The infusion of the radiance of love into every atom and dimension of the earth is the will and intention of the 7 solar systems, Gaia herself, as well as the spiritual masters, legions of angels, and the galactic civilizations. These civilizations are surrounding and supporting humanity's liberation in the unfoldment of Earth, combined with the intention and focus of the civilizations at the center of the Earth, Agartha and Telos, and with every nature being and the mother of the world, who holds the entire living system of Earth in her loving embrace. This alignment has thus been made on all levels, and all beings now support this solar decree. And this is the decree in a summary. The time has come for Earth and humanity to be free of all darkness and move into its lighted destiny as a sacred planet. All are aligning with the great, ever-flowing love from the 7 solar beings and the grand heavenly being who contains and guides all 7 solar systems. Nothing on Earth, nor in any dimension, can stand against this vast alignment of energies and the fulfillment of Earth's higher destiny, and the destiny of all planets within these 7 solar systems. On this, you can rely. So, that is a message for you, for all of us. And that is the truth of where we are in our evolutionary process and what is going on now. And, it's just a statement that I've received. You can do whatever you like with it. I'm not saying you have to believe any of it or accept any of it. It's totally up to you. But I'm just offering this to you as a message of hope, of vision, of possibility, that we as humanity, working with all these higher levels of beings, will inevitably achieve. I am very, very sure of this. I have no doubt, and it is going to happen. So the only choice really is, are you going to align with this and get with the program or not? That's the choice that we're all facing. And that's why we call this the destiny year, the destiny election. So, all right, anything anyone wants to say about that? And good, may that day come soon. God bless you. Absolutely. So I think that's really where we are right now on our planet. And there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to worry about. Yes, we do everything we can. We meditate, we love, we send energy to all the positive. We do everything we can to reinforce this reality in human consciousness. The more we do that, the more the field shifts up into this reality where it becomes evident to more and more people that we are undergoing some unbelievably powerful and unusual transformational process, which is really a transfiguration process. So that's what we're looking at. So people are asking more about the day of revelation. Okay, let's talk a little more about that. Somewhere in the next 3 to 5 months, we're going to see a time come when there will be a huge energy inflow, not only to our planet and our solar system, but to all 7 solar systems, which are the 7 chakras in the body of this greater being we call the grand heavenly being. That is what's occurring. It's very, very close. This alignment is all but completed, and it's all a matter of right timing. One of the things that had to happen was the election had to occur first in order to get a clear choice by the American people, who are not the only people choosing by any means, but we are making this clear choice which way we're going to align with. And assuming we are going to align with the light, which I'm very confident about, then that opens a doorway for the fulfillment of this prophecy of the massive inflow of love to the planet. They are not giving a definite day. They are saying somewhere in 2 to 5 months after the inauguration. And that's the timing. As I've said before, Hillary has already had contact with the Light Alliance directly, one-on-one, and so is Bill. They are definitely aware of all of these, much of these dimensions I'm talking about, maybe not in as much detail, and they are working towards that. They know that what is unfolding, and that's very, very important. That's why she has the direct support of the Light Alliance. Energetically, my gosh, I mean, she was in front of the Benghazi, what was it, 10 hours, 11 hours, and just stayed there with it, and just dealt with it and dealt with it. When she stands up and smiles, do you notice anything? You can't fake that, my friends. All this stuff about Hillary's done this and done that, those are suppositions. Those are accusations by people who have no accountability, no proof, and they just keep saying, "Oh, she's done this, she's done that, she's done that." It has no validity. And I have a beautiful paper that refutes 10 of the most widely circulated lies and myths about what Hillary has done with facts. And there is no substance to almost all of the stuff that's been said about her. Sure, she's made mistakes in the way she did some things, but there's no proof, and there never has been, of any quid pro quo for anything she's done. There is no actual evidence that any real of the kinds of nonsense she's accused of ever has occurred. And if you want to ask me, send me an email, and I'll send you that paper that outlines in detail exactly what really is the truth of these things. But so let's go on from that. I mean, if you want to believe in what's on the internet, go ahead. It's fine. It's up to you. But notice that it's filled with hate. It's filled with very negative, violent imagery and thoughts about her, about other people. It's a very dark, negative energy you are choosing to align with if you go into and accept all that stuff. It's not, almost all of it is not factual, despite how cleverly, because these are paid people who do this stuff, that it's all phrased and written. No matter how clever it is written, it doesn't mean it's true. Do your own investigation. Do your own research. Don't just accept anything that's on the internet because it's on the internet. It doesn't mean anything. It's probably 70% chance it's complete nonsense. That's where you have to approach it from. And then begin to think about what you're looking at. Okay, well, Gordon, please get on with the cards. Yes, okay, no, I will not. They never, no more. Good for you. It was John the Baptist. Of course, we believe in it. No disclaimer needed. Okay, stop promoting Hillary. I'm sorry, but I need to make clarity about this whole thing because I'm one voice in the midst of thousands and tens of thousands of paid voices who are attacking her. And I'm going to continue to be that voice. I don't, if Hillary doesn't win, then that's the way it is. And that's the lesson that Americans are going to have to learn, is to live with Donald Trump and the horrors that he will create. If that's what Americans choose, I will work with that too. But I don't think that's going to happen. Not at all. Americans are beginning to wake up to what's really going on. Okay, so I will send you, if you want to get that email, just send me a little note, gordond2@earthlink.net, and I will send you that little paper on all that. Okay, what do you want? Okay, what are the 7 solar systems? Well, our solar system is one solar system within a being, which is called the grand heavenly being, made up of 7 solar systems. Each solar system of that grand heavenly being is a chakra in the body of that greater being. And it goes on from there. It is the grand microcosm, macrocosm order of the universe. And it goes on that way, okay? So here we are in the little planet Earth, which is a chakra in the body of our solar system, just ours. But we, because we have been under the control of the dark forces for a very, very long time, we're holding back the evolution of our solar system, which was also holding back the evolution of the entire 7 solar systems of that greater being. That's why we had the solar decree that said we're going to remove the dark forces now from this planet and allow humanity to be free and move forward in its evolution, because it's holding back everything. And I didn't say that, but that's part of what was stated. So we are now in a process. We have had the dark forces of extraterrestrial control systems and all that are gone from this planet. That's why people who say there's a war going on for our planet, there's a war in the solar system, it's all not true. I'm sorry, but it is not true. I'm not sorry, I'm glad. It's not true. These are old thought forms, old ideas. You have to remember the principle of superseding. Anything you've heard or hear could have been superseded by what has occurred now or will occur tomorrow. Therefore, don't take anything that people are saying, that I heard this, I was with the Blue Avians and they said this and this and this. That's old news. It's not necessarily true anymore. You've got to understand we're in dynamic movement and evolution in this system. And that's going on right now. Yes, what do you got? Okay, we'll get to that. It's a whole nother subject. We'll get to it. Remind me. Okay, Standing Rock. People want to know about Standing Rock. Okay, we'll get to that. Something they have to use this. Okay, yes. All right, so let's go on. Now I want to talk about preparation, because this is really important. What can you do that's going to be the most useful things you can do to prepare for what's happening, for what's going to happen and what's happening now. And I've talked about a little of this before, but I want to go over it and make it really clear. First, number one, I'm going to talk about on the spiritual level, the psychological level, and the practical level. First, spiritually, what can you do to prepare? The first suggestion, this is all directly from what I'm getting, simplify your life by focusing on the essential work and relationships you are drawn to that are connected to your higher purpose. Eliminate the non-essentials in your life. Very, very useful and important, so that you have more time and more energy to devote and focus with on the positive, useful things that you want to create in your life and in the world. Second thing, become disciplined. Not a fashionable word, but I love it. Disciplined about focusing your consciousness on lines of thought and activities that are important to fulfilling your soul-recognized purpose and goals. And avoid being pulled into lower frequency attachments or calls. This is extremely important. It takes discipline. If you want to be a spiritual warrior, this is where spiritual warriorship comes into the picture. It's like constantly being aware of what's going on with your consciousness. Are you being sucked into some negative story somebody's telling you, or something on the TV or internet that's there? Do you need to absorb all this energy that's being thrown at you? No, you don't. But unless you're conscious of all this and realize how important it is what you open to and what you allow into your being and your consciousness, then if you're not aware of that, you can't do anything about it. Awareness is the first step. Then you can begin to decide, do I really want to listen to this? No. Turn it off. If you don't want to listen to me, turn it off. I don't mind. But whatever it is you're listening to, if it's harming and it's heavy and it's dark and it's not lifting you up and making you feel clearer and more enlightened and happier, probably not a good idea to take that into your consciousness and being. I've said this before, so I won't dwell on it. So, third thing, this is a time of preparation and dedication. We're dedicating ourselves to what's really, really important in our lives. So we need to centralize our life focus. We need to focus in on what's really important to me and what can I let go of? What do I need to be aware of to be ready for the day of revelation? Okay, this is really important. The way to do this is to deepen your meditation practice, develop inner stillness and the capacity to hear and discern your own deep inner wisdom, and to recognize those who are wanting to help, guide, and assist you in your forward evolution. So you have to clarify the sources you choose to access for the higher guidance and wisdom. Not only do you get higher guidance and wisdom from your own soul, you can also receive a tremendous amount of that from higher beings who are there to help you. But you need to use a very careful evaluative process to find and discover the highest sources you can access. That's your task. And be very careful. And we've talked a lot about this, so I don't need to dwell on it. What you open to and what you accept as being the highest you can receive. So then you have to use your inner blended heart-mind to guide your life and your choices. So it's very important to make choices very deliberately, to, from the highest point of consciousness you can reach and hold. So you can practice listening to the deepest inner voice and vision you have and can connect to. You need to develop a clear, regular daily rhythm of self-care, meditation, exercise, and higher spiritual focus. The way I like to do this is experiment and find your best times for spiritual and mental work, and when you need rest and a change of labor and regeneration. Discover what truly relaxes you and what you can do to create that state which brings you joy. That's the goal, because we're going to create much more effectively in a state of joy than anything else. So clarify also for yourself your vision of the future unfoldment of your own unfoldment, the evolution of humanity and our world, and our place in the universe and our relationship to all lives beyond the earth. So what is your vision of that? What do you see us going? Because vision is a creative power. So as we hold that, we begin to become clearer and clearer about where we're going, and you help to make it so. As good old Captain Picard said, make it so. So our greatest contribution as light workers is to hold this clear, loving connection with the matrix of love, with the masters, with the Light Alliance, and radiate clarity and confidence to all the circles of people we are in touch with. That's the real powerful thing we can all do. And we will be reinforced ultimately by statements from lighted leaders in our world who are fully aware and backing the plan of light. There are some, quite a few, more than we all realize. And here's the fundamental statement: the higher powers have your back, and they have your front, they have your sides, they have your top, and they have your bottom. Keep that in mind at all times. Okay? This is very important. All right, so there we have it. That's the spiritual preparation. Okay, what's the psychological preparation? So maybe I'll just take a pause there and see if there's anything anybody wants to say about that. Okay, hold on. We got to
best email.
Best email, worldtransfiguration.com.
What's the beginning part?
What is it? Okay, Ginger, could you put up the best email for people to get in touch with me? Let's use the World Transfiguration one. It's better.
It's quicker.
Yeah.
Quicker.
Yeah. So, okay, so someone's asked a very profound question about when I got ill from too much energy, Yes. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute when we get to the practical side of things. So I'll hold that question. If I don't answer it significantly enough, ask me again and I will. So, yeah, World Transfiguration @gmail.com. That is the best email to ask me to send you the paper I said about Hillary and other things if you would like to have them. I can send you, if you want it, the list of all the things I recommended for spiritual, psychological, and preparation. If you'd like to have that, just drop me a little note at this World Transfiguration email, and we'll make sure you get that. Okay? All right. So now, psychological preparation. This is really, really important because spiritual is on one level. Psychological is much more to do with our own being, our own presence. So you need to observe how you function in all situations, or what parts of you are motivating your thoughts and actions at different times. In what chakra do they live? What are their needs, interests, and objectives? And how can you communicate with them to help them become your allies and co-creative partners rather than opposing forces within you? Now, I could say a lot about this, and we did talk about this earlier in our seminar, and a lot of people were not in the early part. But basically, we all have three selves: higher self, the soul; conscious self, we know ourselves to be daily; and a subconscious self. Most of us are not as familiar with our subconscious self, but there are many parts within it that are actually having a great deal of influence over what we do, what we say, what we think, how we respond to situations and people. It's extremely valuable to yourself, how you respond, and me, which of these different parts of your subconscious are influencing you at different times, and it changes constantly. So you have an inner mother, inner father, inner child, inner ex-partner, spouse. There's a lot of characters in there, and they do have influence. It's important to begin to recognize this and learn how to work with them. Any of you really want to do this, perhaps after I get my next book done, I'll offer to work with people. I can't do it now because I'm working on a book. So the next thing you can do is radical forgiveness and compassion. You can review all the thoughts, feeling, and actions that you have generated or that others have done to you. Look deeply at the motives driving these thoughts, feelings, and actions, both other people's and your own. And develop compassion for those who have harmed you. Notice we start with them, not you. With those who have harmed you, for what they was driving them, causing them to do these things, and for yourself, for any harm that you may have caused. True compassion. Once you have really experienced this, then open to the great matrix of love and invoke the fires of forgiveness for all the past errors, harm, and suffering you and others have caused or experienced throughout the history of the world. You don't have to take on the history of the world. You can start with yourself, your own process, other people you've been in difficult situations with, and work on that. When you get that well mastered, then you can work on larger venues. And I don't recommend doing the practice of Tonglen that the Buddhists recommend, which is you tune into the pain, suffering of the world, take it into yourself, and transmute it. That's a very advanced practice. I don't think most people at their current stage are ready to do that. A few, but I wouldn't recommend it for most people, unless it's you're very, very advanced in this level of working. So it's better to just say, take it, recognize what it is, ask the fires of forgiveness, the angels of forgiveness to come in and clean and purify all that with fire. It's a spiritual fire, but it's a very gentle, compassionate, forgiving fire that just helps to burn away and eliminate all these old patterns, both in yourself and in others. But you're only doing it for yourself and your relationship with others, your forgiveness for them. You're not working on them. And then you just allow that to occur. If you change your attitude towards them, it will change them. It's on them to do it. So, and then you just allow that love and that light to pour in and make that field of compassion and forgiveness your place of consciousness from which you live and move and have your being. So that basically you have compassion for everything. I have great compassion for Donald Trump. I feel how much he's suffering, how much he was deprived as a child. He didn't get the love and positive support he needed. Only for achieving certain things was he given any positive reinforcement. He's suffering terribly. And that's reality of what goes on. And I have compassion for him. I don't think he should ever get near our presidency or anything in those positions of power. But nonetheless, I can understand internally, psychologically for him. So that's being compassionate and loving. And I forgive him for what he's done. And he is doing positive things through the whole process of politics, as we can discuss. So the next thing you want to do is live life in the fifth dimension. So the fifth dimension is a realm where love rules, where harmony is the keynote, and joy is the fundamental energy of creativity. What makes creation possible. So we can focus, you can focus on, well, we can focus on all of our positive qualities, capacities, and abilities, and hold them in our awareness of ourselves. Gaze upon yourself with eyes of loving compassion and understanding of all you have been through all your lives. This is really important. Do the same for every lighted, loving human being on earth. Understanding through the eyes of love that each has suffered, grown, and learned through their choices of life paths and are now approaching this great moment of ascension to a higher dimension of life, or continuing their light evolution in other locations. So this higher dimension will be where growth and evolution will no longer arise from pain and suffering, but from joy, co-creation, and expansion into the greater whole. This is what we're doing. We're expanding our consciousness. So us being together and talking about all these incredible ideas about what's going on in the Earth, the solar system, the universe, is expanding our consciousness tremendously. This is what this whole cycle is all about. And we're doing this beautifully. So then we want to develop a stance of joyful anticipation and an attitude of adaptability and resilience to be able to easily and harmoniously adapt to the new conditions on Earth. Holding steady in the field of love will be the fundamental to maintaining this stance. And believe me, conditions on Earth will be different. But they will not be the image that so many people have promulgated of horror, disaster, and catastrophe. Wrong. Not happening. Totally not happening. What is going to be new is the level of energy, joy, and love that we will all be experiencing. So let's talk a little bit more about that, because it's really important. So this comes down to practical preparation. This is the third type of preparation you can do. So now I said manage the first time I said this was about spiritual preparation, and that had to do with your how you hold things in your consciousness. Now we're talking about practical preparation. So it's the same thing. You need to simplify practically your outer life and affairs so it's easier to manage and maintain your life support systems. Release all the excess stuff, the unnecessary possessions and material in your life, which requires attention and maintenance, doesn't it? Think about it. Think about that storage shed place you have, full of junk. Oh my God, do you need all that? You have every single thing you own is attached to your aura by a cord. Do you want all that stuff attached to your aura when you're trying to move into the fifth dimension? Not helpful. So develop a very powerful positive expectation that all you need will be given to you from a benevolent universe as long as you are aligning with your soul and its higher purpose, your soul destiny that you're meant to fulfill. So what does this mean in terms of stockpiling? No, there's a lot of people talking, you gotta store food, you gotta store water, oh my God, it's all coming crash, the money, whatever, it's all gonna collapse. You can take some reasonable, positive steps to be prepared without stockpiling large amounts of food and supplies. Some extra on hand, but you don't need to stockpile enough food for a year, as we did with Y2K, which was a total joke and never was necessary. A little bit of extra is good, but not to get into this fear mode about having what you need. Why? Because we, as part of this transfiguration process we're going through, we are going to learn how to use our co-creative powers, working with the angelic kingdoms, with the Light Alliance members, to manifest our higher intentions and visualizing, with the help of the Devas, all we need to live beautifully and bountifully on this planet. That is part of the future of where we are going. It also relates to the whole idea of money and with how much we're going to need money in the future. That's part of how it's going to be phased out. So all this practical stuff will be greatly assisted by the reorganization of Earth's systems after the day of revelation. All the necessities for an ordered, harmonic, and loving human life will be available to everyone once we get the systems reorganized. It is not necessary to stockpile, living in fear of lack, as that state of consciousness will no longer be present on Earth. So we also need to be ready to and prepared to help others who are in fear, anxiety, and confusion about what is occurring with the day of revelation, and that will be some. And providing them with reassurance that all is well, and helping them to adapt and meet their needs as they arise. This is part of what it's going to mean to be a light worker in this new cycle when we are moving into this new state. So that's how we, so a few hints on doing practical preparation. Now, I will, if you like, I will put up, someone suggested putting on the website, which I think is a better idea than sending it out to everyone. So I will put this all up on the Live the Future Now website under
.com.
livethefuturenow.com website under, we'll make it very clear, preparations for the day of revelation. I'll put it up on the site. Or I may call it just the coming shift, because not everybody's aware of what the day of revelation means. So but anyway, I'll put it up there as preparation. So you can go there and you can download all this stuff I just shared with you and about how to prepare. So, and we can put it on Facebook forum. Mark suggests that's a great idea.
Yeah, tell them about that.
Yeah, we have a Facebook forum called
LTFN Galactic News.
Yeah, LT, Live the Future Now, LTFN Galactic News on Facebook. So you can, that's a forum, and you can go there, you can make comments, you can leave information, and we can put that information also on that forum. So you'll have it available wherever you want to look for it.
And Mark Lurch is facilitating that and doing a great comment. You'll love it.
Thank you, Mark. You are really a gift to us. We so appreciate what you're doing to help. Yeah, okay, John Mark, good point. Stop watching the darn fear-infused news. Absolutement. All news network are controlled by the cabal to keep you in a state of uncertainty, and fear is their main tool for control. Absolutely. That is the absolute truth. Okay, let me just finish this and we'll get to that. Don't let me forget. Yeah, Tom is saying Trump worked very hard to get his upcoming lesson about ego death, and I agree fully. And the teacher is arising, and that is the life circumstances under which he will be operating after we go through this whole process, and the karma of what he has been promulgating. All right, let's see. Other things we have to. Oh yeah, beauty before me, behind me, and all around me. That's a lovely piece.
Native American prayer.
All right, and then there's a question here about when I spoke last time about overstimulation, too much energy coming into my system. That certainly was the case, and it's not. I'm not the only one who has gone through this kind of experience. Many, many people have right now, and it is important to realize that that is an issue you need to be aware of. So, if you find yourself being, really just feel like you're jangling, there's too much energy, too much coming in, fire, too much overload, you feel stress, if your body starts really feeling hurting, and if there are blocks, they'll start hurting, whatever. All of this, I also dizziness or nausea, anything that shows up like that. The immediate signal is bring it down. Bring your energy down into a lower frequency for the time being in order to manage your energy in a good way. Now, there's lots of ways to do this, and some of them you may or may not feel comfortable doing, but I'll share with you what you can do. Now, I can put this on, we'll put this on the website and the forum as well. You can meditate and see the energy going down through your feet all the way down, and it's extremely useful if you can to sit in a chair, put your feet on the grass or the earth, and meditate and see the energy flowing down into the earth itself, through your bottoms of your feet, flowing all the way down through all your whole system, down your legs, and through your feet, in connecting with the earth. Very helpful. Or just standing barefoot, walking barefoot on the earth is really useful. That's helpful too. And then also connecting with animals, having a pet, companion animal that you pet is very helpful. Because the earth itself, and especially the ocean, one of the things for you blessed people who live near the ocean and can swim enough, well, going into the ocean, walking on the sand in the ocean it connects you directly with a field of negative ions, which helps pull through and move out the excessive positive ions that you get when you do a lot of meditation and a lot of higher energy work. It's very important to keep the positive negative ion balance in your system. Being in touch with the earth physically, walking on it in the ocean, whatever, is extremely helpful in that. You can take salt baths or take showers. You can reduce your meditations for a period of time if you're getting a lot of stimulation. You can also eat heavier foods. You can eat root vegetables. You can eat sugar, which definitely brings you down if you want.
But it's not healthy.
Or you can eat, but it's not healthy. Eat higher proteins, such as meat, for those who want to do that. And then you can get a massage or do foot reflexology. There's many, many things, and many of you are aware of these. So there's a lot you can do about, all right, what do you got? About Standing Rock. Okay, people have asked about Standing Rock. So let's talk a little bit about Standing Rock.
Explain what it is.
Standing Rock is a demonstration being held in is it North or South Dakota? I think it's in North Dakota, organized by the Native American people, and now has a massive number of people from all different backgrounds and traditions there with them, and they are demonstrating against the construction of this pipeline that will run underneath, I think it's the Missouri River, potentially for oil substances being transported, which could cause the pollution of the river, which is a water source for thousands and tens of thousands of people. Also goes right through Native American burial grounds and other sacred places. All that is under a huge conflict right now because they are demonstrating against this, the most valuable thing, and they are doing a magnificent job, and there's so many people backing them. They're getting money from crowdfunding, and they're really, really brought this issue to the attention of the country and to the president. Obama has stated that they are relooking at the location of that pipeline and looking for alternative routes. God bless you, Obama. So that's really great. And so if that happens, it will be a tremendous victory for the Native people, for us, for all of us who care about the earth, care about confronting unaccountable corporate power that does not care about these things, but which we all know are very crucial to the future of our world. And that will be, if it does happen, a great victory. But I think somehow this will be limited. Oh, is that Ginger? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Ginger has reminded me that we have completed a new video called On the Matrix of Love with a soundtrack by Gary Malkin, who's an Emmy Award-winning composer. And Gary and I did this together. We put this together, and it's a beautiful soundtrack, and we have some images with it. And what she's going to do is put it up.
She'll send the link.
And we'll send the link, and she'll send you a link if you would like to watch this video. It's my sharing the Matrix of Love statement of what it is with music and slides. And we think it's pretty nice, and I hope you do. And we just want to make that available to you so that it would lift you up and give you an image. And Yoshimi has corrected me. Thank you for that. It's a gas pipeline, not an oil pipeline, but nonetheless equally
at Standing Rock.
At Standing Rock, but equally not good for the world. Yeah. And very interestingly, as some of you know, some of the peace officers from the police actually have put down their guns and their badges. They resigned and have come in and aligned themselves with the demonstrators at Standing Rock. That is beautiful. And that happened also in Europe when they were protesting. I forget what the issue was. So this is really, really wonderful that this affects people. And it really changes them in their hearts, which is so important. Okay, well, there's lots of good questions here. Yeah, Jean-Marc asked about Michael Tellinger's work. I am familiar with Michael's work. It's excellent, beautiful. I think it's very aligned, and we will be moving. I don't know if every detail he's stating, as I haven't really closely gone through it, but I know it's really valuable. And yes, I support his work very much. Oh, no, somebody saying it is an oil pipeline. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's bad news. Where did the towers go? Was the best time seen? You know, one of the Chemtrails. There's their person. Yeah. Okay, somebody's brought up the issue of chemtrails. Yes, chemtrails did require vast resources, and they were available, and they did go through and put these up, and they were trying to both do things that would make people less aware and conscious as part of the original intention. My information that I got about them at this time is that they are no longer harmful, that the harmful things that they were adding into these chemtrails have been blocked and removed. And also, there are multiple videos on the internet showing UFO craft going behind in out of these chemtrails and neutralizing them, and actually seeing them disappear. That's very interesting. Take a look. It's very fun to watch that. So you can. That's a very interesting kind of proof that there is something really going on about the protection of our world and our environment and all of us. So I think.
Physical healings.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yes, several people.
Okay, will the energies of 9/11 result in physical healings? If it is
not night day 11. Day of Revelation.
I'm sorry. Did I say 9/11?
Yes.
Sorry. Day of Revelation.
No.
I'm having a conflation of time. The day of Revelation. Yes, some people whose karma allows will go through healings, I am sure. I mean, it's just, can you imagine the healing that will take place if people are surrounded in an environment which is infused with love? There is no more hate. There is no more violence. There is no more aggression. All those vibrations are gone. We can't even begin to imagine what this would be like, but I can, to some little degree, that is going to be a world that's just going to be so beautiful and so uplifting. We will just be in a different state. So much of the, I'm sure, I know, that so much of the sickness that's present on the planet is often very sensitive people who are impacted so much, especially women, but men too, by this horrible energy that's here on the planet, has been for so long. And then it's gradually being lifted and being raised in its frequency as we have more and more light pouring in, as more and more people move out of those frequency realms and move into the higher. That's what's helping that process. And that, as that occurs, more and more people will be healed. I'm not saying, I don't know for sure, but I don't think everyone is going to be healed. But the healing may be that they leave their body, go into a new incarnation where they do have a healthy body, and they come back and they participate in this incredible new civilization that we're going to be building, or we already are building, but just taking it at a whole nother level. Okay. Okay, how will climate change be affected by the day of revelation? Well,
louder.
Yeah, how will climate change be affected by the day of revelation? Well, climate change, is a product of a lot of things, more than is normally attributed to it. There are more causes than normal that people normally think of. Yes, there's all the CO2 and there's all the warming and all the stuff that's going on, but there's also one of the things it's important to understand is that when there's huge internal conflict on the subtle planes between different forces trying to create their vision of the future, right? That creates tremendous tension, stress, and disharmony on the planet. That's what we have on this planet right now. And it's culminating right now in this election. That's my view. And there are other things going on that also are part of that culmination, Syria and other places in the world where all this horrible stuff is going on. But that creates an environment, or it's because the health of nature depends on the principle of harmony, of balance, of keeping all the energies and forces in balance, and everything is flowing. So every part of nature feeds every other part and receives from every other part. That's what makes the environment beautiful. When you have this kind of stuff going on in the psychological realm of humanity, as we do, it makes it very, very difficult for for nature to maintain itself in a balanced, good way. That's part of the problem. It's not the only thing, but it's a part. As we go through this change, Yeah. All right. So there's a lot going on with that. The Galactics do have the technology to clean up the oceans, the Earth, and everything. And they have said, to, at least I've been told very clearly, that once we go through this day of revelation, we're beginning to rebuild and purify and develop this new world, this new civilization. They will make available technologies which will allow us to clean up the oceans, clean up the Earth, remove all the pollution, and create unbelievable transformation that inconceivable to most of us. That's what the promise is. I believe in that. I know that's going to happen. So here we are. We're just doing everything we can do until we reach that point. That's all we need to think about. All right. Questions. What about Nasara Jasara, which apparently is part of the Paris Climate Agreement, which has taken effect on 4th of November? Also, is there a debt forgiveness for the governments? Debt forgiveness will be complete. It's debt forgiveness because the whole thing about debt is what? Who's it owed to? It's owed mostly to the cabal and through their manipulation of the interest system and everything else and all the Federal Reserve or equivalents in other countries. That's all part of that whole game. That's all going to be canceled totally. Student debt, everything, all credit card debt, all canceled. Okay, that's coming. So I don't think that is going to, it will include governments. The Nasara and Jasara, well, Nasara was an earlier version proposal of distributing money to those in need. It's way back. It's quite old. That's an earlier version of what's coming now, which again, it's been superseded by a plan as I've outlined. It's very straightforward. It's similar to Nasara, but I don't study Nasara in great detail because I don't think it's that important anymore. But as I said, forgiveness of debt, interest-based money is gone. There will be a stabilized currency. Everybody will have what they need for life, a beautiful, bountiful life on Earth. And whatever it takes to organize that, that's what we are all engaged with in creating. We can engage with it by imagining it, holding it, seeing it as our future, and with great confidence and faith that is where we're going. And we are going there. There's no doubt about it, regardless of what anybody says. 0 point energy will end our need for fossil fuels. When will they release that? 0 point is going to come in after the day of revelation at some unknown point. I haven't gotten any information on that. After the day of revelation, probably around I don't know for sure, but sometime after that, because it's a very crucial part of reorganization of the world. And fossil fuels are gone. We can desalinate water with no cost or very low cost or pollution worldwide. That solves the water crisis. All of it will be handled in that way. Okay, Shimi is asking, my daughter's class has been listening to Imagine. The lyrics is describing the day of revelation. Yeah,
John Lennon.
John Lennon's Imagine. You bet. That is one of the most beautiful anthems to our future world. It is. It is our future world. And that is really where we're going, all of us who can love. Everyone who can love will be part of that future. It's very simple. So I hope this has been interesting and helpful. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so it's a really great thing to have you all here together. We have 135 some people on the call. That's great. I love it. Tell your friends. They can all come. It's free. And we will continue. I will continue to put this out in as much as I can. The trade-off is if I do these, I am not having as much time to work on the new book, which I think the new book is going to be very, very interesting to all of you, which is going to be what is life like in the fifth dimension? And how are we going to get there? And what is going to need to happen or what will happen on a practical level of 3D in order for us to bring that world into our world in a very real way. So that's part of what I'm trying to find the time to work on. It's been a real challenge. And go ahead. You want to come on?
Okay.
Go ahead. Hold on.
Hi, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed this broadcast. I just wanted to remind you, those who are in the San Francisco area, in our local area, we do have local events. Gordon gives information on the World Transfiguration and with a whole group here in San Rafael every month. And that's up on their website, livethefuturenow.com, as well as other interesting local events that we're involved in. So check it out. There's a lot of articles there. There's a lot of videos, meditations, things that are, I'm sure, will be helpful to you. So thank you.
All right. Well, Catherine has tempted me beyond my powers to resist, which is, since this is an election week, can't you spend more time with us today? Okay, I will do some more. I love it. I don't mind. I'm shameless. I love talking. The election. Well, it's very interesting to look at this even now, because what's happening already is a real shift in the whole way the election is breaking in terms of the parties, which is very important. Because I think if you really objectively observe the way the Republicans have functioned over the last 2 terms of Obama's administrations, hard to say they've carried out a creative participatory role in the good governance of our country. I mean, it's been a ghastly effort to completely block any and everything he could possibly imagine doing, and that is a complete disservice to our country, to the people, to the world, and that is just unbelievable. There's a lot I could say about that, because his original idea of his role was going to be to create a bridge and a peace building between the 2 parties, and that was an agreement that was supposedly reached with the Republicans that they would do that, and they have completely refused to do that, and have done, in fact, the very opposite. So that is shown that the Republicans are not willing to play a useful role in this country's governance. Therefore, we had Trump emerged, who is only doing what the Republicans have always done, only more egregiously and ridiculously. Tell them anything, promise the poor and everybody anything, and then do everything, whatever you want, and don't give them anything. This is what has been going on. And of course, blocking Supreme Court nominees. They want to kill off the Supreme Court. They don't want the Supreme Court. It's on and on and on. Endless stuff that's going on. So what has happened is Trump has been instrumental in fulfilling his sole purpose, which is helping to break down the current incredible negative state of the Republican Party and open it up through catastrophe and breakup into maybe fulfilling a more useful role, or it will become extinct and maybe a new party will arise. I don't know whether we even have 2-party system. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, the point is that all right, so please
finish your sentence.
All right, so I just trying to skim the questions. So the important thing right now is that the demographics of the world and of this country are changing, and large numbers of what have been considered minorities or disenfranchised, disempowered people are moving directly into the mainstream of American life and other countries' lives, and they are empowering themselves by registering to vote and having their voices heard, and this is definitely going on in this country. We have a massive inflow of new voters from the Hispanic community, and this is causing huge uproar already. In Florida, they've already huge voting by the Hispanic community, and that is likely change the outcome for Florida for sure in Hillary's favor. Nevada, likewise, with the Hispanic vote. Things are moving and changing in radical ways. So I definitely think, Hillary's pretty much won the election. It's pretty well over at this point, because they spent a huge amount in registering and encouraging Hispanic voters to go to the polls and vote in many different states, and that is paying off. Meanwhile, Trump and Republicans have done everything they could through legal means and other kinds of intimidation tactics to try to discourage people from voting, to win that battle. Come on, folks. There's just there's no contest, and it's going to work. We are going to win. The Light Alliance is going to win this one for sure. So whatever needs to happen with the Republican Party, I haven't really dug into that too deeply, but I have dug into the picture of what's going to happen after the election. And that is, there will be a period of chaos, mild, short, but not a massive, civil war as some of these idiots are proclaiming. It's not going to happen. But the necessity of that energy surfacing and being dealt with, some of it may require that the police or the military come in and say, okay, you guys cool it, it's not going to happen, that. And Hillary has very, very profound level of protection, just as Obama did, even from the galactic level. They can't touch her or any of them. They are protected at a level where it's not possible to harm her. So even though there are a lot of crazy people out there that are all saying we got to kill her because now it's, it's going to ruin the world and ruin our country, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. So, Catherine, yes, I like your question. All right, so Green's wanting me to stop, so I'll do one or two more things and then we'll close because I know it's going on. Catherine has asked the question, does Hillary have it in her to be the greatest president in our history since she will be in office during the day of revelation? I think she does. I think that's her role. I think that's her destiny. I think that's what's going to happen. That's my view. I could be wrong, but she knows the plan. According to everything I've received, she's been fully briefed directly in person by the Galactic Light Alliance. I mean, representatives who've shown up and showed her what's going on and where it's going, and as well as Bill. And they are moving forward with that knowledge. So I see that as very, very positive. What country will you move to? I'm not moving anywhere. I don't care who's president. I'm staying right here because I have deep roots with this country beyond anything you can imagine, and I will be here. The whole idea of the new republic, no, I'm sorry, I don't go there. The idea that, what's his name? Speaker of the House, Ryan, is the president of the new republic. Give me a break. This is ridiculous nonsense. More ridiculous nonsense. There's so much of this on the internet. And there's probably some truth. This is a legalistic way that the cabal has structured the control of the U.S. in ways that give them advantage. Yes, that's true and real. We need to eliminate that. And I am very confident that that will be eliminated one way or another. Whether we will call it a republic or not, I don't know. I mean, see, people come up with all these schemes and ideas about how to fix these problems, but it depends on what happens on the ground, what in the moments that when it really comes down to it, what the Light Alliance and the masters and the leaders of humanity decide is the best way to deal with this issue. It is a real issue. I'm not saying it isn't. But the stuff that's promulgated all over the place about what's going to happen, please, please, just take a little time to think about what people are saying. Do some research. You can research on the internet. You can talk to other people, whatever. Don't just believe things that are on the internet because they're on the internet. I would say that's a fool's journey. And, probably somewhere between 70 and 80%, of the political stuff on the internet, or more of the political stuff, is complete lies and nonsense. Because the cabal has got hundreds of thousands of people working on doing exactly that. And if you don't believe me, do some research and find out what Sheldon Adelson and many others. It's there. They are doing this. That's why you have story after story after story. Oh, Hillary started ISIS. They're killing people all over the place, blah, 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 blah. Oh, come on. So don't even listen to that, and don't even worry about it. I am voting for the light. Yes, you do. That's the thing. Oh yeah. The other thing that Kareen's point. You want to say something about that?
Well,
all right. Let's. Kareen's going to say something about the masculine and feminine, which is always good.
I think one of the key things that's being worked out in this election is for people to understand the need for the balance of the masculine and feminine, and that is what Hillary is representing, is bringing in a strong feminine voice that hasn't been present, because we all need to see what the contribution of both masculine and feminine is to the world, and to bring it back into balance. It's been so out of balance and so disrespected. And that's what's, Trump is surfacing all the disrespect, all the ugliness, because it needs to be cleansed. And that's a very key part of what Hillary's bringing forth in this election and why we need this.
Great. Thank you, Jill. That's beautiful. All right. I'll just say, I'll answer one final question and then I'm going to close. And the question is, what is going to be revealed on the day of Revelation? Thank you, Wanda. That's a great question. All right. So one of the things that I have gotten in my downloads is that, in elegant word, is that that there is already prepared a very large number of hours of programming for television worldwide that that is about the history of our world, of humanity, the interference of the cabal and the negative ETs and all that has happened on our planet, the true history, the true herstory of our world will be presented to humanity in a multiple long series of TV shows. And that will help humanity to get a balance and a clarity about what is going on, what has gone on, why things have been so screwed up. And, I believe most people know intuitively, they feel, and they do, something's really messed up here. It shouldn't be like this. People don't have any say. The wealthy control, they do whatever they want. They do horrible stuff, all this violence and hate and all this stuff going on, never real help for the ordinary person. People know something's really, really wrong. That's why they vote for Trump, because Trump has the illusion of, I'm going to help you, which is total nonsense. And so when that intuitive sense of how there's something really off about what is going on in this world is addressed with the truth, just think about how liberating that will be for humanity, right? It will. It will be incredible. And so I think that this is one of the things we need to get. And there's one of the things that will be revealed. It's the whole true story. It will be revealed that we are one as a being. We are united in consciousness in our hearts, and that is the most important revelation ever to become known to humanity widely. The question is widely. That's the whole point. It's got to be widely so that it changes the whole frequency of the earth. There's always been a few people, the great knowers and mystics, who have known this, but now we're talking about humanity as a whole knowing this and living from that truth. Okay, well, I'll take one last one. This is really the last one. What is causing so many women to talk against Hillary? What do you want? You want to ask it? You want to answer?
She was asking me.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Do you want me to answer?
Go ahead, do it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I think what's going on is just with so often people vote against their own real interests because they believe a lot of these lies they read on the internet. And Hillary hasn't emphasized that she's a woman candidate. She's just saying, I'm a human being who happens to be a woman. And I think people just don't understand what the stakes are today and don't have good information, women as well as men. I think that's what's going on. And it's difficult for women to always see that as it is for men because there's so many that's on the internet. And of course, Jill Stein also is a woman, and many women who are playing key roles in our world and our institutions today is very key. So I'm really encouraged by that. And I think it's important. We don't vote for somebody just because they're a woman, but when they're very qualified and have a lot of light and a lot of good ideas and very practical and a lot of experience, then I think, we have a great candidate here. So Absolutely. That's why we're taking a leap and saying more about Hillary than some people are comfortable with. So do a little more deeper research on this, folks, both inwardly, meditatively, and look at other sources, because obviously, to me, when you see so many attacks from the cabal against Hillary, there must be something they're afraid that she's going to bring in that is particularly threatening. Right. Okay.
And again, I want to ask my fundamental question: the illogic of assuming Hillary is part of the cabal when they are massively attacking her every possible way they can. If she was the cabal's candidate, they would be supporting her. They're not. Therefore, she is not a cabal candidate. She is of the light. You need to take that in, people. You do, but the world needs to take that in and get that, because completely illogical that you could say she's a cabal candidate when she's under that kind of attack. Okay, so thank you for everything, and thank you for being here. We will put up, I'm not going to put up the thing about refuting all the lies about Hillary. If you want that, send an email to worldtransfiguration@gmail.com. I'm not going to post that, but if you, all the other stuff I've said, we will post, but that one, if you want it, you have to ask for it, because I don't want to get into a thing about defending Hillary or not and all that. But if you want it, I'll send it to you. Okay, so thank you all for a fabulous day. I think we've had a good time here. I certainly have. I hope you have. And we will continue until we're all free.